A member of the European Parliament, I was canvassing one day and I came across a man who had the simplest imaginable concern, which was to do with speed bumps. And I said, I tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to get you the leader of your district council. He said, oh yeah, that would be the day. I said, no, he's just down the road. And I left the two of them together. And then the leader of the district council came back and he said, I've sorted him out. And I said, that's wonderful. What are you going to do about the traffic calming? He said, I don't mean that. I mean, he's voting for us. So that's great. But what about the issue that the poor fellow had about the speed bumps? Well, that's not really to do with me. That's county. Hang on, wait a minute. You are a county councillor, which he was, as well as being leader of his district council. Well, I say county, it's really Highways Authority. Now, there we were, representing 3 of the 4 tiers of government under which this poor man was governed. And if the MP had been there, it would have been no different. And we couldn't begin to address the simplest concern he had about something that affected his life every day. Now, is it any wonder that that man and millions like him have stopped voting? They no longer see any connection between where they mark their ballot and any consequential changes in their life. Power has been shifted from elected representatives to unelected officials. Where we're allowed to drill for oil, what sentences courts can impose, on what terms can disruptive children be excluded from class, on what terms can people who entered this country illegally be deported. These are no longer decisions made by people who are in any sense accountable to the rest of the country. We have this myth that somehow, when people are appointed to these quangos, to these expert bodies, their prejudices and assumptions disappear and they become magically wise and disinterested simply by virtue of being appointed there. But that isn't true of other quangos and it isn't true of HOLAC. I have to say, I very much welcome what the Secretary of State for Health has just said about not just abolishing the large quangocracy at the top of the NHS, but this being part of a broader democratisation process. I hope all of us will support the government in that endeavour. But how can we then say that one of the 2 legislative chambers should be appointed by a bunch of good chaps without any direct oversight by the population? By the way, who appoints HOLAC? Quis custodiet ipsos custodes, right? At the moment, appointed by the Prime Minister, but since the whole objection and the whole purpose, if I understand it, of my noble friend Lord Norton's bill is to try and take away that power from the executive, presumably there'd have to be some different method of appointing them. Well, how are we going to do that? It seems to me the only fair way of ensuring an appointments mechanism that is genuinely answerable to the population would be to elect HOLAC. Oh, but hang on. If we're going to do that, why not go the whole hog? Why not go totus porcus and elect your lordship's chamber too?